Greetings. Today's pen is the Hero 616, and this pen takes inexpensive pens to a whole nother level. I paid $1.66 shipped, including shipping, from China for this pen. So this is an ultra inexpensive pen. It is almost an exact replica, copy, homage, if you will, to a Parker 51 with an aerometric filler. So you see Parker 51s came in both vacuumatic and aerometric fillers. This one mimics pretty much the aerometric filler version. It is a very, very light pen. It only weighs 16 grams. It's a little bit on the small side, not terribly so. So here it is compared to a Lamy Safari and compared to a Pilot Metropolitan. And you see it's a tiny bit shorter than these pens. So it's average length to just a smidge below average, but not noticeably so. It is nicely made. It of course has the Parker Arrow clip, which is pretty much a one-for-one replica of the Parker Arrow clip. The top has a metal cone-shaped insert. On Parker's, this typically was a plastic jewel insert, but that's one of the fundamental differences. It's got a very lightweight plastic barrel, and you can probably see already there's some nicks in here. The plastic's a little bit on the soft side, but you know, it's going to get banged around, being that it's such an inexpensive pen. The pen posts well, very deeply, very solidly, and it actually feels obviously quite good in the hand. You have this nice long section. About the only thing you might feel would be this ink window here, which is, even though it's just sort of a narrow little slit, it is a functional ink window. You can tip it over and kind of get an rough idea of your ink levels. Not the greatest ink window in the world, but it's actually very nice to have one, something you completely would not expect at a pen at this price point. It of course has the traditional Parker style hooded nib, and the feed is pretty much, again, Parker style feed. So that is the pen. Again, you're dealing with a very, very inexpensive pen here. I would almost classify this in the ultra inexpensive category, a pen that doesn't even cost $2. I guess the next question is, how does it write? And we're going to find that out right now. Okay, what we are writing with today is a Hero 616, and this is a clearly a fine nib bordering on the extra fine range. Obviously no flex to be had with this. This is a stiff hooded nib, and it's, like I said, with these type of hooded nibs, you're basically looking at something here that's effectively a ballpoint alternative. Although I will say, it writes quite smoothly and nicely, has very nice flow, and is quite wet. So in terms of what you get for your money, you're getting quite a bit here. So clearly nothing to complain about from a cost perspective and a value perspective. This is writes pretty nice out of the box. I didn't do any work to this nib. I didn't do any smoothing on it. So out of the box, it wrote quite nicely, quite smoothly, and I'm pleasantly surprised with how well this writes. And it's, like I said, it's a nice. It's definitely on the wet side and definitely on the smooth side. So you certainly, for the dollar, I'm not sure you're going to get too much better pen for such an inexpensive price. One thing about this pen, though, in terms of the filling system, is it has probably my least favorite filling system of any pen. It has a built-in aerometric filler. So the way this works is it has this pressure bar, which you push down and squeeze, which compresses a sac that's inside the pen, which then forces the air out. The ink comes up through a breather tube, etc. There are lots of aerometric converters on the market, but this is built in. You can remove this outer sleeve, but the inner sac that contains the ink is fixed to the pen. It cannot be removed. You could take it off completely. And actually, one thing I looked into was if I just simply remove the sac completely, could you eyedropper this pen? Because there doesn't seem to be any other metal parts inside. The answer to that is no, because there is unfortunately a hole on the very end of the barrel. So in theory, you might have been able to turn this into a nice eyedropper, but the answer is no on this one. I don't like these type of filling mechanisms because they're just hard to clean. So for $1.66, I really can't complain very much. But again, I think this is one of these pens that you're going to end up picking a color, sticking with it for a while, and then what'll probably happen is you'll attempt to clean it, and either you'll be successful or you'll give up and then simply just throw the pen away. So that's probably what'll end up. That'll probably what's going to end up happening for most people, because it can be frustrating to clean these. In terms of ink, this is an ink that I have mixed feelings about. I love the color, not so crazy about some other aspects of it, which we'll get to in a second. So this ink is Noodler's Gruene, or Green, or Green. I'm not even sure how they're supposed to pronounce that. Cactus. I love the color on this. It's basically and I don't mean this in a negative way. It's a flat green. It's a sort of almost like a nice. If you had a nice lush lawn, that's what you might expect the green to look like. It's just a very pleasant, flat, sort of flat green color. My biggest issue with this ink is, as much as I like it, it does have dry time issues. So as you can see, this is smearing, and I wrote that, a minute or two ago. I've had cases where I've written with this on, say, Tomoe River paper, etc., and I come back days later, and it's still smearing. If fast dry time or having the ink not smear at a point in the future is really important to you, then unfortunately this probably is not the ink for you. Like I said, I really like the color. The behavior leaves a bit to be desired. Like I said, I'm not crazy about the dry time on this ink, and you just got to be a little bit careful with it, otherwise you end up with green fingers. Like all Noodler's inks, it comes in a very economical 3-ounce bottle, so that's almost 60. No, what is 3 ounces? That's almost 90 milliliters of ink, and they cost about between $11 and $13 depending where you buy this. So it's very economical ink, like all the Noodler's products are. So I guess that will do it for this video. As always, if you like this video, please let me know. If you don't, please let me know as well. And until next time, bye-bye.